Many of us have heard of the legend of King Arthur and his wizard companion Merlin, and the kingdom of Camelot and the Knights of the Round Table. However, in Disney's take of Arthur, they focus on his childhood in The Sword and the Stone, where he is taught by Merlin and has many adventures learning life lessons. Another version I recommend is the BBC television series Merlin, which of course focuses more on Merlin the wizard, but also Arthur learning to be a great ruler. Many of these interpretations show a strong bond between the king and wizard. Once Upon a Time, on the other hand, has a different story. Centuries ago, Merlin ends up in a desert with a companion and discovers the Holy Grail. Merlin's friend is tempted and drinks from the cup that ends up becoming dust. Merlin, nearly dying of dehydration, drinks from it, taking the risk, and still remains alive. Not only that, but becomes immortal and is given strong magical powers in which he uses to transform the desert into grass. We now jump centuries later, 500 years later to be exact, in which Merlin has become a healer. He creates a magical hat that absorbs magic and hires a young boy as an apprentice. This, of course, is a little nod to the famous Fantasia segment of The Sorcerer's Apprentice, starring Mickey Mouse, to the point where this young boy wears a long red robe. One day, Merlin is visited by a young woman named Nimue. Her request is to plant flowers known as Middle Mist. The flower always grew in her village, but she recently escaped as a warlock named Vortigern killed all the residents there. Merlin uses his magic to have the flowers bloom in an instant, and the two fall in love. As much as he would love to be with her, there's only one thing that pulls him back: his immortality. Nimue will age and die, but nothing will happen to Merlin. But he is willing to sacrifice his magic in order to marry her. He tells Nimue of a powerful source known as the first spark of mankind's original fire. With this and the Holy Grail, he will be able to have his magic taken away. On this journey, the two come across Nimue's destroyed village. Unfortunately, she can never let go of her hatred for Vortigern, and begs Merlin to use his magic to destroy him. Merlin says he will not use dark magic and will never kill. Thankfully, they reach the fire, and Merlin creates a sword, but Vortigern appears and holds Nimue hostage to get hold of the sword himself. Nimue tries to break free, but is stabbed, but as Vortigern tries to kill Merlin, his heart is ripped out by Nimue. It turns out she had secretly drank from the Holy Grail to make herself immortal. Merlin begs for her not to become dark, but she crushes Vortigern's heart. She transforms with a horrible appearance, and to make sure Merlin doesn't use the sword to take away her magic, she smashes it. Merlin uses the tip of the sword and fashions it into a dagger and binds Nimue to it, creating the very first Dark One, which will eventually happen to Rumpelstiltskin. For the remaining part of the sword, Merlin places it in a stone, creating the Sword and the Stone. The Dark One is bound to the dagger, and anyone who possesses it can control the Dark One, and so Merlin tries to summon Nimue and tries to kill her, but can't bring himself to do it. Nimue manages to take the dagger from him and turns Merlin into a tree. Years and years go by, where Merlin, still stuck inside the tree, is visited by a young boy named Arthur, and tries to tell him that one day he will be king of Camelot, and that he will pull the sword from the stone. Arthur tells his closest friend Guinevere about the prophecy and promises her that she will be his queen. However, Arthur gets teased and bullied by Kay, saying that an orphan like Arthur would never be king, and even so, Camelot is an embarrassment for a kingdom. Now grown up, Arthur seeks the sword and the stone along with Lancelot and Percival, but is outrun by Sir Kay. However, when Kay tries to pull the sword, he turns to ash, almost mirroring the scene with Merlin and the Holy Grail. Arthur successfully pulls the sword from the stone, but of course, a piece is missing. He keeps this a secret, and returns saying he is king. However, he does tell Guinevere the truth and that he must find the remaining piece. After setting up the round table with Lancelot and Percival as knights, Arthur discovers the missing part is the Dark One's dagger and begins to search. However, during his quest, Guinevere becomes neglected, but Lancelot seems to be giving her more attention and she starts falling for him. Eventually, she confronts Arthur that all she ever wanted was him and that he must choose what is more important, her or the kingdom. Arthur, realizing that if she leaves him, she will go with Lancelot, but still wanting to be king, he uses magical sand that Guinevere had, possibly coming from Agrabah, I'm not quite sure, which makes her completely devoted to him. He also uses the sand to turn his tower into a castle, making Camelot into an illusional kingdom. What will it take to fix this broken kingdom and a broken king? Can Arthur prove he is the true king and fulfill Merlin's prophecy? And will Merlin be set free? It might take another realm to help them, but there will be darkness for Excalibur to become whole again.